In this section, we're going to explore the wonderful world of named ranges. And named ranges are another one of my favorite things in Excel. Not only can you use named ranges to help you navigate across multiple workbooks, but you can use them in formulas so that your formulas are not only easier to construct, but also easier to interpret and read. Now, before we get into how we create named ranges and how we use them in calculations, let's start out by discussing exactly what a named range is so that you understand. Now, as we've already seen, we can select different groups of cells using our mouse. And when we select a group of cells, this is referred to as a range of cells. And we often use cell ranges when we're performing calculations. For example, if I wanted to sum all of the totals, I would select the cell range F4 down to F17, and that would be my range. And what a named range is basically assigning a meaningful name to a range of cells. So instead of just identifying a range as, for example, H10 to H14, I might choose to call this range blank cells, something like that. And I can then use that name in my formulas as opposed to having to go in and select the cell range each time. Now, in this workbook, I have numerous different named ranges already set up. And you can see all of your named ranges by clicking this drop-down arrow in the name box. Notice I have 5 named ranges in here, one for customer, orders, price per unit, quantity, and total. And what you'll also notice is that each of these named ranges corresponds to the column headings in this table. And if I click on the price per unit named range, it's going to highlight that range of cells. So effectively, this cell range, E4 to E17, is called price per unit. So each one of these cell ranges has been assigned a name. This is the cell range assigned to customer. This one, quantity, and you can see it in the name box just here. We have total just here, and then we have the orders range. And in the table on the right-hand side, we have some calculations. Now, if you take a look up in the formula bar at this first calculation, this is going to look a little bit different to the formulas that we've constructed previously. I'm doing an average calculation. I'm trying to find the average quantity. But instead of selecting the cell range, which would be D4 down to D17, notice it just says quantity in there. It's using the named range as opposed to the cell references. If I go to the next formula down, this one is doing a count of all of the orders. And again, instead of using a cell range, I'm using the named range. And instantly, by looking at this formula, it's a lot easier for anybody looking at this worksheet to kind of figure out what it is that you're trying to do. Instead of just some random cell references in there, they can see, okay, it's doing a count of the orders. So it makes it more meaningful. Another thing that you can use named ranges for is quick navigation. So if I was clicked on another worksheet, let's just create another one very quickly. If I was working away over here and I wanted to quickly jump back to one of those ranges, I can simply select it from the name range drop-down, and it's going to jump me back to that worksheet and highlight that range of cells. So it's also quite nice if you want to use it for navigation. I would say that that is kind of its secondary purpose, and most of the time the primary use of named ranges is to create meaning when you're constructing formulas. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to take a look at how you create named ranges, because there are a number of different methods that you can use. But just to give you a heads up, we're going to be working on the Formulas tab at the top in the Defined Names group in the middle here. This is where you'll find all of your options for creating named ranges. So I'm going to head over there now, and I look forward to you joining me.